been than the cliff position that HuK was able to secure for himself. But, you know, Zerg's got to do what Zerg's got to do. He's going to stay behind if he doesn't expand somewhere, and that appears to be the best choice for him right now. But HuK, if we take his view, he has seen this already, so he knows he's going to start gearing up towards being able to take that out. HuK actually choosing to take out his own rocks now. Not sure why. It seemed like the cannon was doing a good job of repelling these several Zerglings from DIMAGA, but, you know, I can't question HuK. He's a much better player than I, for sure. So HuK also choosing right now to get lots of tech buildings, Twilight Council Robotics Facility, and 3 more gateways. So that'll put him up to 5 gateways, 1 robotics facility, and a Twilight Council to start either moving towards Templar tech or start upgrading his tier 1 units even further. HuK already sitting on 1-0 weapons. We knew he had a forge because we saw that cannon earlier, and he has been doing good at least upgrading once, but you know, his income's doing very well. He's not lost too many units at all in this game. DIMAGA, on the other hand, losing several queens and expansion and lots of drones early on in the game. He's pretty far behind, even in food. If we look, HuK is at 114 food to DIMAGA's 60. So even though DIMAGA is able to build hydralisks now, gas is his limiting factor. If he can't get these extractors up soon, he's going to fall even farther behind. HuK moving on, trying to pick off more queens here, but now that there's enough hydralisks on the field to repel them, he's either going to need a lot more phoenixes or a concerted attack with both the ground forces and the air forces. So an observer coming out now, chrono boosted zealot legs, and looks like, is he going to get Psystorm moving? Not quite yet. He's spending a lot of minerals getting yet another gateway. That'll put him up to 6. These Lings not really doing anything for DIMAGA. Basically wasted supply at the moment, but more spine crawlers coming in for DIMAGA. He wants to keep this expansion as protected as possible. You can see he's got his AA kind of strategically placed, and he would do well. Well, he does have 2 spore crawlers, so that's good. 4 spine crawlers is also good. HuK moving all around the map, trying to figure out where DIMAGA is going to try and expand next. He knows that he can't survive on one base, and this second base of his is actually rather prone, so just cruising around the map with his phoenixes for the time being, keeping those upgrades going, getting a warp prism now, and Psystorm finally starting, and 2-0 upgrades, going straight for 2-0 rather than the 1-1 for his ground units. DIMAGA, on the other hand, sitting at 1-0 for both his hydralisks and his Zerglings. Getting that next extractor up, he needs to try and get this one too, so that he can basically full-time produce these hydralisks. Hydralisks do great, obviously, against phoenixes, unless they get lifted all over the place, and they do great against gateway units if they can keep up in the upgrades and the numbers, especially with that increased range that DIMAGA still has not gotten. But he would do good to try and get those as soon as possible. He is getting 2-0 for his hydralisks now, at least, which is a good sign. And of course that benefits the queen as well, that ranged attack upgrade, so that helps him in his AA endeavors. He's going to start moving his spine crawlers down his creep. DIMAGA doing a good job of spreading creep constantly throughout this game to make sure his units are as fast as possible. Hydras are really slow off creep and really fast on creep. They can be very, very deadly on that creep. So HuK basically cruising around trying to find as many overlords as he can, still able to kill quite a few of them throughout the game. Oh, it looks like HuK does have Psionic Storm finished, and 4 High Templar ready to do some damage on this drone line of DIMAGA. DIMAGA, ooh, that looks so bad with all those storms everywhere. It looks like he splattered at least 7 drones there. You can see their little skeletons fading away now, and now that their storm juice is all used up, HuK choosing to make these High Templar into Archons. Can he? I don't believe he can actually zap down. They only have a range of 2, so DIMAGA's forces will be fine sitting here, but DIMAGA breaking down these rocks up here at the top. I told you he wanted to keep this cliff clear. I'm surprised he didn't actually break that down earlier, but this Warp Prism needs to get out of town if he's going to save these 2 Archons. Actually, it looks like HuK choosing to just use the Archons to kill off some Zerglings and drones here, but all these Roaches and Hydras up on the cliff, able to take them out extremely quickly, and that Warp Prism. Phoenix is moving in now to kill off some Roaches. Obviously, the Roaches can't fight back, so as long as they're separated from these Hydralisks, the Roaches are just going to die. Hydralisks finally moving in. You saw how slow they slithered up there without any creep, so the Phoenix is still with that air mobility advantage, able to kill off a couple of Roaches basically for free. And HuK looks like he's got an expansion over at the high yield all figured out for himself, and DIMAGA is also on the other side at his high yield that he lost earlier, so both players trying to take advantage of those high yield minerals. However, DIMAGA does not have quite enough troops to fortify both positions. Check this out. Lots of roaches and zerglings and crawlers of all sorts, spore crawlers and spine crawlers, on the right side of the map, and HuK chilling over here with, wow, almost 30 zealots. Yikes. Lots of stalkers and a couple of sentries for some force fields. Also has that observer. Very important to note that this observer is in play because DIMAGA does have burrow already researched for his roaches. He's already got all the upgrades, I believe, for the roaches. Let me look over at the roach warren. Yeah, he's got fully upgraded roaches with 2-0 attacks, so if they're going to be burrowing and trying to sneak away, that observer is going to come in huge to prevent that from happening. And DIMAGA, again, trying to get as many drones on these high minerals as he can, but HuK basically just backs off, recharges his energy on his phoenixes, comes back in, wastes a few, flies back out, repeats the process, and until DIMAGA can get some AA there, it looks like he's going to try and move some Hydralisks. Look how slow they are. The phoenixes able to kill all the drones. They can chill here for a second. All they have to do is flee once they actually arrive. But look back at the forge. Looks like he's getting 3-0, nearly finished actually. So HuK probably just waiting for that number 3 to finish and appear on all these little swords for his ground army before moving in and trying to take out this whole army. And if we look at the food count, it's 194 against 132. 198 to 132. That's a 66 food advantage, and a lot of that is army. If we look at units, actually, the worker count is 59 to 39, so that counts for 20, but that still leaves them with 46 advantage. 46 food advantage. So, and HuK is also dropping more production facilities all the time, 2 more robotics facilities. Finally, the sentries move in with their guardian shields. All these ranged attacks now doing less damage to basically the entire army of HuK, dropping storms all over the roaches. They burrow now, but of course we knew that that observer is still somewhere on the field, so if it can move up, and yep, he's just going to keep storming the ground where he saw the burrowed roaches and keep moving up with these huge forces. His 3-0 is finished, so basically he's going to keep moving. Not going to keep moving, actually. Going to back off a little bit. It looks like he did get the positive end of that exchange. Roxkis DIMAGA regenning all his roaches by burrowing them and now moving back in for a little bit of a counterattack. However, HuK's sitting here with all these Immortals and now Archons coming in. Going to easily be able to clean up these roaches. Immortals hard counter roaches by doing just tons of crazy damage against them. 65 damage per shot against the only 145 HP roaches. And the 2-0 does certainly help repel these a little bit, but you know, the fact that they're bio and armored means these Archons and Immortals are going to clean right through them. So HuK doing a good job keeping tabs on DIMAGA's army, making sure he didn't build too many Hydralisks, and building the appropriate army to basically bulldoze through it. So through constant harassment of workers, keeping the AA to a minimum and using those Phoenixes to his advantage, and basically keeping on top of the upgrades. You see this 3-0, his shield upgrade is nearly finished as well, but chose not to go for any armor upgrades, and it looks like it's still paying off. I mean, all this extra damage against armored, even these stalkers here do more damage against armored, and the Archons doing more damage to biological. These roaches are the absolute worst thing DIMAGA could keep cranking out, but unfortunately they are the most efficient resource-wise. He needs to, you know, if he had the number of Hydralisks that he had there instead of that number of roaches, he may have even been able to hold off that attack and flee with some forces intact. However, these roaches, you know, DIMAGA thought he was going to be able to burrow, get them back up to full health, but burrow doesn't matter at all when you're able to freely have observers all over the map, and you know, make sure that the regen doesn't matter. You're not attacking while you're regenning, and you're taking extra damage from all these units. So HuK cruising around, basically just trying to keep his army intact, trying not to lose too many units as more join the field from his multiple production facilities. He's got lots of gateways and lots of robo facilities. It's probably going to be over soon if he can manage to take out this natural. DIMAGA does not have the army anymore, and DIMAGA does call GG as all these storms drop right over here on the left side on all these drones. Oh wow, they're all in red health. They'll all be dead in just a second, but DIMAGA GG's, and we'll be moving on to Game 2 of this best of 3.